Chapter 2. Douchi Continent. The moon was like a silver plate, and the stars filled the sky. At the summit of the cliff, Xiao Yang lay on the grass, and in his mouth was a strand of green grass. He chewed it slightly and let the bitterness spread into his mouth slowly. He raised his white palm and put it in front of him, blocking the moon and only letting some moonlight pass through the gaps between his fingers. He looked at the giant circular silver moon in the sky. Thinking back the testing in the afternoon, Xiao Yang sighed slightly. He lazily pulled his hand back and rested both hands on his head. He looked absent-minded. 15 years already, a soft voice that suddenly was spat out from the young teen without any warning. In Xiao Yang's mind, there was a secret that only he himself knew. He wasn't a person from this world. More accurately, his soul wasn't from this world. He was from a deep blue star called Earth. As for unexplainable mystery of why he would be here, he himself had no clue. However, after living here for some time, he slowly realized, he passed through to the other side. As he grew older, he slowly came to understand bits and pieces of this continent. This continent was called the Douchi Continent. On the continent, there wasn't many tales of magic users and their effects, but rather, Douchi was the main star. On this big piece of land, the training of Douchi had become commonplace after the hard work of countless individuals who continued to train beyond generations, expanding the knowledge surrounding Douchi all the way to the top. Douchi and mankind are one and the same in everyday life, and as such, Douchi is extremely important in the continent. It could be called irreplaceable. As the number of levels in Douchi kept increasing, so did the number of ways to train it. Some were better than others, as expected. After going through a system of analysis, the Douchi rankings in the Douchi continent got split into 4 different classes: Tian, Di, Xian, Huang. And every class was split further into beginner, medium and high ranks. The Douchi techniques you learned also determined how strong you would be. For example, if a person practiced a Xian class medium rank technique, he would naturally be stronger than a person who practiced a Huang class high rank technique. In the Douchi continent, to differentiate the strong from the weak, there are 3 criteria that need to be looked at. First, and also the most important, is your natural body strength. If a person only has a 1-star level of strength, even if he practiced the Tian class high rank techniques, he wouldn't be able to beat a Huang class combat master. Next is technique level. If 2 people of the same innate strength were to battle, the one with the better technique will obviously win. Lastly is Douji. Douji is a special kind of skill that is used when controlling Douchi, and in the land of Douchi, Douji is also separated into Tian, Di, Xian, Huang. Douchi in the continent speaks for itself, but Douji is different. Almost everyone starts off with a Douji class of Huang. If you wanted to learn more advanced control skills, you would need to join a sect or enroll in a Douchi school. Of course, there are some who, by chance, manage to learn the skills that others before have left behind, or those who have compatible Douji skills. For these people, their combat level might be slightly higher than normal. Relying on these 3 aspects, you can determine who is strong and who is weak. All in all, if you manage to learn a high-level Douchi technique, the benefits in the future would be enormous. However, high-level Douchi techniques are really hard to come by as a commoner. Those that are open to the public are normal, Huang class techniques. For those bigger clans or small sects, Xian class techniques are the norm. For example, in Xiao Yang's clan, their highest level technique was only practicable by the clan leader Lion Wind Strike. It was a wind-style Xian class medium rank technique. Above the Xian class would be the Di class, but this kind of high-level techniques might only obtainable by a powerful country-like organization. As for the Tian class, in 100 years, it hasn't appeared once. As previously stated, commoners trying to get a high-level technique, is like trying to climb a mountain without gear. However, nothing is absolute. In the world of Dou Qi, there are thousands of clans. In the north, there are people referred to as unbeatable. They fused their soul with wild animals and became barbarians. In the south, there are smart and talented high-class beast spirit clans, and even the strange and infamous underworld people. Because of the vastness of the continent, there are bound to be cases of nameless figures who, by chance, happened upon a miracle that made them strong. Or, perhaps, there might be people who are bound by fate to discover strong techniques. In the land of Dou Qi, there is one famous sentence: if you find yourself stuck in a ditch or forsaken by the world, don't panic. Take 2 steps forward and maybe you'll find yourself stronger than ever before. Of course, though this line isn't false, in the 1,000 years of history in the continent, there aren't many stories of people getting strong by random chance. As a result of this, every day, there are countless individuals who try to break through and discover a new skill or technique, but instead only return with a broken hip or leg. All in all, this continent is full of mysteries and miracles. To access the vault of secret Dou Qi techniques, you must at least be a full-fledged doja to meet the basic requirements. For Xiao Yang, it seemed so far away. Xiao Yang spat the grass out and quickly stood up and made a maniacal face. He faced the sky and shouted, "God damn it! How could I be played for a fool like this?" In his past life, Xiao Yang was a mediocre, average commoner. Wealth, fame and beauty seemed to run parallel to his life, never intersecting it. Then, when he came to this continent, Xiao Yang was shocked. Because of a second set of experiences, his spirit became much stronger than the average person. It must be known that in the Dou Qi continent, your spirit is decided upon at birth. Maybe, as you grew older, it would strengthen a slight bit, but there is no known technique to train your spirit to be stronger. It was Xiao Yang's strong spirit that gave him his talent, as well as his fame as a genius. For an average person, if they were told that they could be a genius, there's little doubt that they would claim their fame and live the high life. For the run-of-the-mill person like Xiao Yang, when he started training his Dou Qi, the temptation of being able to rise to fame would be unbearable. Of course, he wouldn't choose to stay hidden and continue to train. If there wasn't any accident, Xiao Yang could perhaps grow even more with his genius label. Unfortunately, at 11, his label was stolen from him and in one night, a genius turned into a piece of trash. After shouting at the top of his lungs for a while, Xiao Yang finally calmed down and his face turned calm again. No matter how angry he got, he wouldn't be able to get his strength back. Bitterly shaking his head, Xiao Yang felt miserable. He had no clue what happened to his body, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. His spirit was growing as he aged, as expected. His absorption of Dou Qi was also extraordinarily fast. It was faster than the strongest fighter from a few years back. All these factors should have meant that Xiao Yang was a natural genius, but all the Dou Qi that he absorbed seemed to be completely gone. His self-esteem took a big hit, and he could only feel depressed. Taking another deep breath, Xiao Yang raised his hand. On his finger was a black ring of simple design. The material used to make it was unknown. On it were some markings as well. This was the only present his late mother gave to him before she passed. He started wearing it since the age of 4 and even now, 10 years later, he was still wearing. It was a precious gift from his mother and Xiao Yang treasured it dearly. He rubbed the ring and said bitterly, "These few years, I've really let mother down, huh?" Sighing deeply, Xiao Yang quickly stood up and turned around, saying to the black figure from the woods, "Father, why have you come?" Though his Dou Qi was only 3rd stage, his spiritual awareness was akin to that of a 5-star doja, perhaps even better. While thinking about his mother, he felt a sudden disturbance from the woods. Yang. It's already quite late. Why are you still here? From within the cluster of trees, after a moment of silence, a tender voice sounded. The trees shaked a little and a middle-aged man jumped out, face smiling widely. His eyes were locked on his son under the moonlight. The middle-aged man was wearing an expensive-looking grey tunic. He walked with pride and dignity, and his face showed it. He was the Xiao clan leader, as well as Xiao Yang's father, a 5-star Dou Shi Xiao Zhon. Father, why have you not returned to rest yet? Facing the middle-aged man, Xiao Yang's smile thickened. Although he had another set of memories, when he was born, the person before him treated him with love and care. When he lost his power and spirit, the love did not lessen but grew instead. This poked at Xiao Yang's heart, making Xiao Yang recognize him as his father. Yang, are you still thinking about what happened this afternoon? Taking a big step forward, Xiao Zhon smiled again. Ha ha, what's there to think about? It's within my expectations. Xiao Yang shook his head and forced a smile. Looking at Xiao Yang's tender face, Xiao Zhon let out a sigh. The both of them sank into silence for a while, before Xiao Zhon said, Yang, you're 15 now, aren't you? Yes, father. Just one more year, and you have to attend the adulthood ceremony, Xiao Zhon said. Yes, father. Only a year left. Xiao Yang's fist clenched for a while before he replied. He was extremely clear what the adulthood ceremony meant. Once the ceremony had passed, for the Xiao Yang that didn't train, he would be subject to the criteria of searching for Dou Qi techniques. Because he was so weak, he would be sent to do a normal job in the other parts of the Xiao clan. This was a clan rule, and even if the clan leader was his father, he would not be able to do anything about it. If one didn't reach Doja by the age of 25, the clan would abandon them. Sorry, Yang. If you don't reach the Dou Qi 7th stage by next year, I can't do anything to help you, no matter how much I want to. In this clan, I'm not the sole decision maker. There's also those old geezers waiting for me to make a mistake. Looking at the peaceful Xiao Yang, Xiao Zhon voiced guiltily. Father, I will continue to work hard. 1 year later, I'll definitely reach the Dou Qi 7th stage. Xiao Yang reassured his father. 4 stages in 1 year. If it were me from before, it may have been possible, but now I might not have much of a chance. Though Xiao Yang was trying to reassure his father, he himself was bitter about it. Knowing full well Xiao Yang's position, Xiao Zhon could only answer with a sigh. He knew that 4 stages of Dou Qi in a year was extremely difficult. He gently patted Xiao Yang's head and smiled, saying, It's getting quite late, you should go back and get some rest. Tomorrow, the clan has a guest and you shouldn't miss the ceremony. Guest? Who? Xiao Yang asked, full of curiosity. You'll find out tomorrow. Xiao Zhon winked at the restless Xiao Yang, leaving with a big smile on his face. Don't you worry, father. I'll work really hard. Xiao Yang rubbed the simple ring while raising his head and whispering. Just when Xiao Yang raised his head, the black ring on his finger suddenly lit up with a mysterious glow and flashed. Blinking, Xiao Yang realized it wasn't a person,